Hello and welcome to another episode in our series on reptiles, brought to you by myself, Mark Perpetua from Reptile Encounters, in conjunction with Hudson Valley Reptile and Rescue. In today's episode, we want to talk a little bit about crocodilians. Crocodilians are our living reptilian link to a line of reptiles known as the archosaurs, which included the dinosaurs. And even though dinosaurs died out over 65 million years ago, them, along with today's living crocodilians, make up the most advanced group of reptiles compared to all the others. And we can talk about that again a little bit later. What I have in front of me right now is a skull from a large American alligator. This alligator was probably about 8 to 10 feet long, putting him anywhere between 200 to 300 pounds in weight. The American alligator is native to the southeastern United States. You can find them from the very southern part of Virginia, down along the Atlantic coast and throughout all of Florida, the Gulf states, through Louisiana, into eastern Texas, and believe it or not, they go far enough north that there are small populations of alligators living in Oklahoma. In the extreme southern part of Florida, their range overlaps in the Everglades with the American crocodile. And that is where the age-old question comes from. How do you tell an alligator from a crocodile? And really, it only applies to that part of the world where the American crocodile of the South overlaps with the populations of the American alligators that live farther north. If you ever did run into a crocodilian in the Everglades, one of the easiest ways to tell the alligators from crocodiles is the shape of the snout. Alligators have these massively broad snouts. And when the mouth is closed, noticed on the skull, all the teeth of the lower jaw fit into notches on the upper jaw. In fact, if I separate the top from the bottom, there's a big pit right here that the fourth tooth on the bottom jaw fits into to hide it from view. In fact, that fourth tooth on the bottom jaw is the biggest tooth on a crocodile's lower jaw, and they have a much narrower snout. So that tooth has to fit outside like a set of tusks showing up. So crocodilians do appear a little bit more toothy when you take a look at them. I mean, it's hard to believe an animal that starts out so small can get so big. In fact, this alligator is already about 1.5 years old. They start out at only 8 inches in length, fit right in the palm of your hand. And as cute as a baby alligator may look to us humans, to the other animals in their environment, they often look like a tasty snack. The life is a very dangerous place for a baby alligator just starting out. They have to worry about snapping turtles, largemouth bass, and other fish like gar. Birds of prey and even water snakes will eat small baby alligators. But lucky for them, they got a really protective mother. Motherly protection is not a big thing in the reptile class, but with the crocodilians, their mothers will watch over their nest and then listen for their babies. And they instinctively know, although they never met her before, to start calling for her help as they start hatching out of the eggs. A baby alligator will make a cry. It sounds a little bit like this. And that cry alerts the mother to the fact that the babies are ready to go out and meet their new environment, actually living free out in the world. Of course, mother alligators can't feed their babies, and she might have about 40 to look over, so they go out looking for food on their own. At this size, tadpoles, minnows, insects, small frogs are all the kinds of things that a baby alligator might feed on. And when they're out there looking for food, they still are alert for danger. And if they see danger first, that cry will hopefully get mom's attention to get there as soon as possible. Of course, if they don't see danger, they want to hope that the danger doesn't see them. So if you notice the alligator's coloration, they're black with yellow stripes when they're young. In fact, when this guy was first hatched, the yellow was much, much brighter, and it creates a really nice camouflage for the weeds and the environment of the southern swamps where they live. So why the cartoonist decided to make alligators green is beyond me. Even their belly serves an important role. This guy's a little gray right now because of the cooler temperatures that we're working in, but often that belly is bright white, and that's what we call counter shading. In the swamp, he would have the dark back in contrast with or blending in with the dark bottom of the swamp. So anything looking from above, like a bird, would have a hard time finding him. But when they're swimming up over the top of fish, turtles, and maybe water snakes, that blends in with the bright sunlight above, giving them a camouflage from a different angle. You see that on fish, you see that on many types of birds that are perching over your head, and it's just part of their camouflage, believe it or not. But those baby alligators that survive the troubles of life when they're little, and not many of them are, maybe 1 in every a dozen to 2 dozen baby alligators are actually going to survive the early parts of their life. They can grow quickly. An alligator to put about a foot a year on until it's about 4 or 5 years old, and by that time it's going to be nearly 4 or 5 feet long.